Good evening and welcome to Deakin Stadium in Canberra, the national capital. It's the men's National Premier League Grand Final. I'm Russ Gibbs, your commentator, and we've just seen the drama of the WNPL final when Belconnen won in the last minute of extra time. Joining me for this one, Tigers FC versus Gungahlin United's Canberra Olympic and Futsal Rouge international goalkeeper Angelo Constantino. Welcome, Angelo.
Thanks for having me, Russ. Thanks for having me, everyone else.
First things first, how's the injury? And we're going to see you back on the field or court at some stage?
Yeah, it's coming along really well. It's been about 5.5 months. Should be doing a little bit of running, but obviously got some other things to look after. But I think you might see me around next year somewhere.
Disappointed, obviously, with Olympic got beat last week in this match. What are you expecting from this game between two sides that have we talked about this at the start of the season? We probably wouldn't be thinking we'd be stood here watching the Tigers-Gungahlin final, particularly considering Gungalin's -6 start.
No, I think if you asked a lot of people during the year, I don't think many people would have predicted this as a grand final. But nevertheless, they've both made it. They've both won all their games to get through, and I think it's going to be a pretty interesting game.
Plenty to play for, of course. Both these sides have met twice during the season, and it's the Gunners who have had the wood on Tigers. 3-1 in a game I did down at Nijong Oval when they were absolutely brilliant, and a comfortable 3-0 round 17 win over them as well. But as you know, Angelo, finals football makes all of that pretty moot. Yeah,
finals football's very unpredictable, as you could see. You know, Olympic came through on top and obviously lost to Cooma and lost to Gungahlin, and that's why we've got the final today, and we'll see what they both can come up with.
Run through the two teams in a minute. Just want to have a word about the fact that Nicholas Abbott's 14 goals now in Thailand. Mark Shields 14 goals sitting on the in the stand over there suspended. Darren Bailey, the left back, suspended as well. 3 of their key players not here for Tigers. Does that swing the advantage in Gungalin's favour?
Look, I think it definitely swings the advantage towards Gungahlin, but then again, as we're talking, it's finals football, and I don't think you can really underestimate any team.
Finals football under the lights at Deakin Stadium. It's a little bit blowy, but other than that, perfect conditions for football. The two teams ready to come onto the field, led by our match officials today. If you were here for the WNPL, you would have seen the drama at the end. Incredible conclusion to that one. That was the third of our finals today. Congratulations elsewhere to Monero Panthers, who won the under-20s grand final 1-0 today. Finn Durack on the bench for Belconnen United. It's his birthday today. He wanted a shout out, so happy birthday to Finn. Not sure how old he is.
He was stating he was 16, but I think he's got a couple more years on that.
I think he's dreaming.
Yeah.
Anyway, the two teams coming out. Gungahlin in the black and white stripes, Tigers in the yellow. Both sides haven't been here for a long time. Gungahlin United technically haven't been here at all, but they claim the history of Gungahlin Juventus as their own, which is a point amongst discussion for some of their supporters and some of the Gungahlin Juventus people around.
We'll let them discuss that in-house amongst themselves before we make any commentary on that.
Absolutely. Let's look at the two sides, mate. Gabby Wilkes, Tigers FC, 4-4-2, as you would expect. Jacob Cole in goal. The back four, Tony Spaseski and Michael Gurney, joined by the returning Lawrence Redmond, Naul Guerrero alongside him in central defence. That means Jose Di Felipe, the other Argentinian, can move into midfield alongside Michael Keita. Jared Tanini and Hussein Farej wide. In the absence of Shields, Goran Jozowski goes up front alongside the youngster Lachlan Cam.
Yeah, well, Goran up front, you know, he obviously knows what to do. I think since he's come back to Cooma, he's kept the team together. But you know, missing Mark Shields, it's going to be a really big loss to Cooma. But I think we'll see what Jacob Cole can produce, and hopefully, if he has an outstanding game, I think that'll give them a big boost.
Gungahlin United, Marcel Munoz, as expected, the 3-4-3, which he's deployed for most of the season, unchanged from the side that beat Olympic here last week. Jordan Thurtell in goal, Ross Costanzo, Lachlan Griffiths and Jack Green across the back. Nick Rathjen, Tom McLaughlin, Anthony Timotheo in midfield. Jeremy Habtemarian we expect to play just in front of them. And a front three of Mishko Nomoski and Samuel Habtemarian wide. Leading scorer Michael John leading the line.
Yeah, I think Marcel's got a well-drilled team in Gungahlin United. They obviously know what their jobs are and they know what to do. But again, it's finals football, and we'll see what happens after the first 90 and if it even gets to extra time.
The referee is Bruno Kell in his first Premier League Grand Final. Adam Powers, Alex McConaughey, his assistants. Gary Vanderbert will be the fourth official. We watched Tigers against Olympic couple of weeks back, Angelo, fair to say they rode their luck. They defended resolutely. They had a new look back four out there. It was safety first approach. They got rid of it every time it got near their goal. Are we expecting much the same today, or do you think we'll see them play with a little bit more freedom?
I think that sums up Kuma. They'll pretty much do anything they can to try and get a result, and that's something Gabby would get into their minds before the game. So I think Gungahlin should still be wary of them, even though they're missing three key players.
Tigers spent last night in a hotel locally in Canberra. They came together and spent the night together, bonding as a team. And is that going to help them, do you think, or is it just a bit of superstition? Because last time they won the grand final in 2012, they beat Belconnen 2-1 in the final, and they did the same thing. I
think that's something Gabby tries to get into his team. He likes to have the players together a lot, and they obviously travelled to Argentina earlier in the year. I think that's a bonus, having them all together and waking up together, having breakfast together. But only time will tell.
Tigers FC played the FFA Cup this year. For a club of their stature, it's remarkable that they've only ever been crowned premiers once in 2014 and 2 grand final wins. 2006 they beat Canberra Olympic 2-1. You may have played in that one, Ange?
Not to my recollection. Yeah, I would have.
And you put that one to the back of the memory banks. And 2012 they won 2-1 against Belconnen United. So if you're a betting man, third time's a charm, 2-1 again.
Yeah, well, this is going to be a very interesting game. I think, let's see what they do in the first 10-15 minutes and see where we're at.
On the front foot already, the Tigers, as the moon shines down over Deakin Stadium. Big day for Lachlan Cam, leading the line in the absence of Shields. And an early throw, which McLaughlin deals with. Farej was there as well. Here's Jeremy Hampton-Merriam. And Michael Gurney, who a couple of weeks ago would have thought under-20s was where he was going to be at this year, and now he's played a qualification final and he's running out in the grand final. Costanzo at the back, and he's going to fall for Griffiths. Both goalkeepers you know well, Ange. Jordan Thurtell's been in spectacular form this season, as had Jacob Cole. And you mentioned about Cole having to have a good game today, and Thurtell definitely had a good one last week.
Yeah, look, I rate both of the keepers highly. Jacob's been around Canberra for a long time. Jordan obviously transferred from Canberra FC, and I also rate him highly. Had a bit of a slow start when he first moved over, but had an exceptional game last week.
Rathjen looking for Nemoski, who's peeled away. Got himself a little bit of space to work into. McLaughlin. Jozefowski closing him down quickly. Green. Mentioned it last week, Jack Green scored another header. That's his 6th goal of the season. It seems remarkable that he seems to score so many when he's a known threat.
I'd probably put all 6 down to headers as well.
Pretty sure there was a volley in there. That's an early free kick. There's definitely a volley from a yard. I seem to recall in a game that I did earlier in the year against Canberra FC, I think it may have been.
Jack's a massive threat for Gungahlin United. They'll need to, especially here, will need to close him down.
Well, Anthony Timotheou is over the free kick. Mishka Nemoski's there as well. Nemoski's taken over the set-piece duties. Jack Green is the obvious target. Lachlan Griffiths has gone forward as well. And is clipped in towards Green, who's coming on the far post. And he's going to get there, Jack Green, and puts it into the side netting. And that was a presentable opening. I don't know what happened between Cole and his defence, but that is a massive miscommunication.
Yeah, I think Kuma Tigers are going to have to cut that out and sort that out very quickly, or they're going to be on the back foot pretty quick.
Timotheou's ball asked the question. Jack Green couldn't find the answer. Hampton-Merriam wins the header. Jozefowski helps it on its way towards Cam. Goes down under the challenge of McLaughlin, but the referee says play on. Here's Jozefowski. Keita. Farej. Good to see a big crowd in here as well, Ange. It's pretty full on the far side in the main stand, and around us here in the bleachers, it's pretty busy as well. So, be good for Capital Football.
Definitely good for Capital Football. I'm sure we've got a fair number of people on the live stream as well.
It is an intriguing final. Usually over the last few years we've seen Canberra Olympic, Canberra FC, Belconnen United usually dominating these occasions, and Two teams here that haven't been here for a while. Early ball forward looking for John, but easy picked up by Guerrero, who's done himself a disservice there. I think he landed awkwardly on the ankle. Worth keeping an eye on. Redmond, back from an ankle injury himself. Missed the qualification final due to that injury. McLaughlin looks for Habtemariam wide. And Samuel Habtemariam has been cleaned up there by Michael Gurney, and he will be lucky to get away with this one. Bruno Kell across for the Chats. What did you make of that, Angelo?
I think he's very lucky at this stage. I think that...
You can see it here on the replay. Nice touch. And just cleans him out. He's got away with it.
I think he's definitely got away with that.
Early stages, perhaps. Is that the only thing you can think of?
I think, yeah, early stages, but I think you will see Kuma going out hard and making some real hard challenges early to try to get Gungahlin a bit upset.
Did he get the card out? I couldn't see there.
Not that
Was
I
there a
could
yellow
see.
card? I'm not sure. Too busy looking at the replay. We'll get that confirmed for you. Green finds Griffiths. Costanzo, three at the back with Gungahlin. They played this all season. They're comfortable bringing the ball forwards. Green looks for Namoski, who's made the run forward. The flag goes up against the winger. Probably the most experienced player in the Gungahlin side, Mishka Namoski, been around for a number of years now.
Yeah, along with Jack Green. I think Jack Green's been along for a fair number of years as well.
Now Guerrero, out of your picture, well, you can just see him there in the middle of the picture there, still rubbing that ankle. He went to clear the ball and he landed rather awkwardly, considering that the injuries and the disruption that Gabby's had in his back four this season. He really wouldn't want to lose Noel Guerrero this early.
No, definitely. I don't think Gabby can afford to lose any player this early in the game. He needs to hope he can get back on the pitch.
Probably worth looking at the bench in this case. Tony Madafari, Niko Blaskovic, Bojan Taseski and Dimitri Paraskos, the outfield options for Gabby Wilt. Mitch Kay, the substitute goalkeeper. Gungahlin United, Jaden Virtue, Zach Barbatano, Liam Walsh, Buddy Abbas and Riley Angelo Santi. Part of the options for Marcel Munoz, which we might see later on. There's the Gungahlin section of the supports. Brought a lot of their juniors along today, enjoying the grand final experience, and now Guerrero is going to wander off and try and shake this off.
It's actually good to see a lot of juniors around the final today, Russ. It's,
Well, they've been here all day. There's been games here all day, hasn't there? There's a women's reserve grade final, which Woden Western won 3-0 over Canberra United Academy. There was the under-20s final, which you mentioned earlier. Monero Panthers beating Belconnen United 1-0, and the women's final, which was won in dramatic fashion at the death by Belconnen United 1-0. Tomorrow, NPL 2 final here as well, 3 o'clock, ANUFC versus O'Connor Knights. Myself and Ian Worthington will be bringing you that one. Keita in with a challenge, knocks McLaughlin off the ball. Tried to find Farej, but he's overcooked the pass. Adds that element of strength to the midfield, doesn't he, Michael Keita?
yeah, I think he's a very underrated player, which Gungahlin will need to keep an eye on.
Griffiths finds Green. You've been here on this occasion yourself, Angelo, a few times. In early stages, is it a question of nerve settler for these guys?
Yeah, I think so. You just need to get a couple of touches in, get over your nerves. You can see Gungahlin just playing around with the ball, trying to get a few extra touches in there.
Costanzo. Gunners happy to keep it along across the back, which they've been doing well for the majority of the campaign, a campaign which has seen them only lose 4 times. It's a simple ball for Gurney to pick off, though, and he looks to find Farej. Rathjen doing the chasing. Farej puts the hammer down and skips past Costanzo, comes back for a second bite of the cherry, and is helped out by Nick Rathjen, and Gungahlin can bring it clear. Timotheo loses out and then takes a wild hack at Goran Jozefovski. Goldfella taken out there.
Definitely not going to like a challenge like that.
Started the season at Queanbeyan City, Goran Jozefovski, before making the move back to his beloved Tigers FC, where he's been a fixture for more years than I can care to remember.
I think that was a great move by Gabby to try and get Jozefovski back into Kuma. I think he's kept them together.
Well, Dimitri Paraskos is on the field, and that's the end of Nahuel Guerrero. So an interesting early change. We'll talk about that in a minute as the ball's been spun into the area, and obviously that ankle injury for the Argentinian has got him out of the final, and that's not the start that Kuma wanted after 10 minutes.
Definitely not the start Kuma wanted, but Dimitri Paraskos has played a fair few number of games this year, so not a bad substitution.
He was left out of the qualification final squads. I think he had a contretemps with Gabby Wilk. But he's back, and he's on the field 10 minutes in, and he's in the penalty area. And Tigers have a corner.
Tigers FC just earlier,
and a chance for Jozefovski to swing this into the danger area. He's picked out Spaseski, who's come in with a header, and he met it well, Tony Spaseski. Would have been a heck of a header to score from that range, though. So this will be a reshuffle in the back four. I think Jose Di Felipe will drop in alongside Redmonds, and Paraskos into midfield. Not ideal, Angelo.
No, definitely not ideal, but as I mentioned, Paraskos has played a number of games this year, so he knows what to do.
Green's touch. Gets it back from Namoski. Redmonds, one of the finds of the season for Tigers. And Griffiths was all over Lachlan Cam there. Jozefovski wants to go early. Decides that discretion's a better part of valor in that occasion, and will leave it for Jose Di Felipe. Will he chip this in towards the far post? Redmond's stolen forwards. Not going to get on the end of that, though. Early stages, and neither side really stringing anything together.
No, I think both teams are being a little bit cautious. Just trying to find their feet.
Well, Griffiths' pass called out Rathjen and Costanza. They left it for each other. Tigers on the front foot. Here's Paraskos, his first involvement. Looking for another free kick. They're not going to get one there. Gurney went down. It's been a remarkable story, hasn't it, Gungahlin, this season, after all the trials and tribulations they've been through, to pick themselves up off the canvas.
Absolutely. Starting the season at minus 6 points, they managed to get into the finals and make the grand final.
Here they are on the attack with Michael John. Scored most of their goals this season, having made the move from Canberra Olympic, where he was top scorer last year. Green sends it forward, easy for Redmond. Timotheo, Namoski, Timotheo into the area again. Redmond, no nonsense approach. Keita in midfield. Jozefovski battling with Jack Green, and that should be a free kick. A little pull, sneaky pull from Goran Jozefovski there.
Typical Jozefovski.
Argued the point as well. It was right in front of us, wasn't it?
But he's a player you'd rather have than not have.
Close control, honed over many years playing futsal. Was it all conquering, what are they, the Canberra Olympic Super Prawns? Is that what it was? Is that what you call yourself these days?
Just gone back to straight prawns these days.
Straight prawns these days. Still winning championships. You going around this year?
Yeah, we've entered a team, so we'll just see how we go this year.
Probably full of futsal-roos, isn't it?
Nah, couple.
Former futsal-roos, I should say.
That's definite.
Jack Green's overhit that one. That's easy for Jacob Cole. You're watching live men's National Premier League Grand Final here on Bar TV, the home of grassroots football in Australia. Nothing to write home about just yet, except for the early substitution. Now Aguero forced off. Big loss to go along with the absence of Bailey, Shields and Abbott. Keita. Redmond. Spaseski. Forced back towards Cole. Sat up horribly for Cole as he went to hook it clear. Spaseski helps it on its way though. Tonini sends it back from where he came, and there's the ability of Jozefowski in tight spaces. Well won by Griffiths. Rathjen. Timotheo, lovely ball over the top. Michael John looking to get in behind here, and Jacob Cole needed to come and be brave.
Great goalkeeping, great defending, but again, you know, Kuma's going to have to be wary about the quick 1-2s from Gungahlin.
Timotheo loves it in and around the box there, doesn't he? Those little flicks and tricks. Here's McLaughlin looking to stride forwards. Jeremy Habtemariam. Namoski. McLaughlin. Namoski again. Two banks of four yellow shirts in front of him. Every Tigers player behind the ball, very structured. Happy to let Gungahlin have the ball in these areas, Angelo.
Oh, definitely. I don't think they're going to cause much trouble there. I think Kuma is just regrouping and getting their breath back.
Green looks for Habtemariam. He's made the run in behind here and he stayed on side. Does he get lucky with the ricochet? It might fall for Michael John in the area. And bounced off his shins. Jeremy Habtemariam has that ability to glide through spaces that don't seem to exist.
Can definitely make something of nothing. Nothing of something? Something of nothing.
Jozefowski hurried. And here's Habtemariam, wins it back. Rathjen, who's helped out by Timotheo. Griffiths. Gungahlin finding their strides, stringing some passes together now. Green. Griffiths. John wants it down the middle and he's peeled off, but it's just overhit by Lachlan Griffiths. This is what Tigers were very good at against Olympic, wasn't it? It was keeping their structure, keeping the discipline to make it difficult for Olympic to try and break through, and they're doing the same thing in the early stages here.
Absolutely. You know, Gungahlin's going to be... they're going to want to keep the ball at the back there. That's what Marcel teaches them all year round, but I think they're struggling to penetrate Kuma at the moment.
Watched a game earlier in the season against Canberra FC at the AIS where they dominated possession, put in about 80% of possession in the first half. FC sat back much like this, but once the lock was picked, the goals flooded through. Here's Samuel Habtemariam. Costanzo. Rathjen took it nicely into his strides. Cam came back to win it, but inadvertently played it to Michael John, and the break is on here. Miško Namoski in behind. Spaseski, who's had a great season for the Tigers in defence. Usually in the centre of the park, but they've been asked him to play right back over the last couple of weeks, and he's done a good job.
Yeah, I think you'll find with a lot of these Kuma players, they've been reshuffled around the place, and they don't actually look out of place where they're playing. They're doing a great job for Gabby.
Costanzo's ball forwards, looking for Timotheo. Not going to keep that in play. Gunners dominating possession and territory. No chances really of note at the moment.
You talk about Gungahlin dominating. You know, they dominate a lot of games during the season, but they're going to have to put their chances away if they want to get a result today.
It's a grand final, isn't it? And
yeah.
Those half chances need to be converted. Here's a break for them, for the Tigers. Tonini from Jozefowski. He'll look to take on Green. And Jack Green, years of experience, just stands across the path of Jared Tonini. Not only that, he's picked a pass to Jeremy Habtemariam, who looks to set Michael John free. Redmond was there. It's a decent knock as well to Faresh, who's got away from Costanzo, and away from Rathjen, and away from McLaughlin. Took on one too many, though, in the end. Good run, though. And that's come off to Timotheo's hands. That's hurt. He's not in a good way there, is he?
No, that's definitely hurt him.
No sympathy from his teammates. They're carrying on. Bruno Kellen, his first grand final. These occasions do have the tendency sometimes they can get out of hand, can't they, Ange? If some challenges start flying in as the emotion of the occasion gets to people later on.
Absolutely. I think you normally find that at the beginning of the game, but I think both teams have kind of settled down a little bit. But then you'll also find it towards the end of the game, wanting to win it.
Costanzo looks for John, takes it in brilliantly. Great touch from Michael John. Off he goes on a run. Redman in the way. Samuel Habtemariam. Real opportunity for Jeremy Habtemariam. Opening goal, Gungahlin United. Their fairy tale lives on again. And Jeremy Habtemariam breaks the deadlock early on. Gunners in front.
Kuma hasn't cleared that very well at the back there, and they've definitely paid for this.
It was the brothers combining, wasn't it? Samuel Habtemariam finding Jeremy Habtemariam, and he slots it home with aplomb.
Fantastic ball through to his brother, and equally great finish.
Celebrations going on for an age in front of their fans. And why not? If you take their championships into credentials from Juventus, that's 18 years since they've scored in the grand final, so why not? Jeremy Habtemariam with his 10th of the season. And it's the early goal that Gungahlin would have craved to break down what has been a really stubborn Tigers defence over the last few weeks. And if you bear in mind that they've only scored one goal, the goal they scored through Shields, come back to that point in a minute, Tonini's in at the other end, firing across goal, chance for Farage, could have been 1-1. Not made any connection.
That should have been the equaliser, and Kuma needs to make sure they score goals like that.
Well, we just say chances don't come along very often, Ange. And that was a glorious opportunity.
Great run down the line, great cross, but finishing.
Got it all wrong, hasn't he?
Yeah.
There's a question, there's a school of thought, Ange, with three at the back, that you are susceptible to balls in that channel because you can stretch that back three.
Oh, absolutely. But I think Gungahlin's been doing it all year, and they've got Jack Green. They've got all the experience of Jack Green, so I don't think it's a problem playing a back three. But yeah, obviously, players running down the line is going to happen more often.
Well, if they could have asked for a better opening 20 minutes, Marcel Munoz would have said he would want to dictate possession and get on the scoreboard, and they've done exactly that. And I was making the point that they went 456 minutes without a goal till Shields scored against Olympic 2 weeks ago. So they have been goal shy in recent weeks. So that might look like a mountain to climb at the moment.
Yeah, it could be a big mountain, but never underestimate Kuma. 22 minutes in, they've just missed a glorious chance. So it's not like they're not going to have...
Griffiths has been caught here by Farage, and he's going to see yellow. He slid into the challenge on Lachlan Griffiths, left the studs in, and that one hurts. That would have made you wince.
Kuma's just got to be a bit careful not to give away too many yellows.
Talk us through this one, Ange.
Not. That's not pretty. I think he's left his slide in a bit late.
He's a little unfortunate, isn't he, that Lachlan Griffith's touch was that bad. It invited the challenge.
Yeah, but again, needs to be a little bit smarter in making a challenge on the opposition 18-yard box or close to.
Thankfully, Griffiths is on his feet. Green, good ball over the top. Jeremy Habtemariam stayed on side here. The goal scorer looking to take on Redmond. Got a foot in. Comes from Rathjen. McLaughlin. Nemoski. Habtemariam swings it in towards where Timotheo was. Didn't quite pick him out, but the worrying signs here for Kuma.
Definitely, I think Kuma's leaving a lot of big gaps down there, right-hand side, Gungahlин's left-hand side. They're definitely attacking that a lot more than the other side. And getting a fair bit of joy.
Jeremy Hampton-Merriam has a story of his own, doesn't he? Didn't play last season when he transferred from Olympic to Canberra FC due to an administrative error. Making up for lost time. Got himself on the scoreboards.
Yeah, I don't think he would have been happy about that that error, but he's moved over to Gungahlin, taken a few of his buddies over with him, and they've made the grand final.
And they're 1-0 up and 20 minutes away from a half-time lead. McLaughlin, Green. Hampton-Merriam's gone through the middle. It's Sam Hampton-Merriam who was sneaking in behind. That was an important header from Di Felipe. Keita. Tanini. Redman. Who gets away from Michael John and picks the pass.
That was cheeky.
Jozefowski tackled by Rathjen. Spiseski with the throw. Cams the target. Good touch that to Tanini. Now Spiseski into the space that Tanini vacated. Nicely done by Tigers. Griffiths in the way now. The break might be on here over the top towards Michael John. That's a good header from Redman. Hard to believe he was playing state league football this time last year. Lawrence Redman settled in nicely.
Yeah, I think he's done really well for Kuma this year. He's very solid at the back there.
Di Felipe with a magnificent pass out wide to Spiseski, who killed it stone dead. Green stands him up. Tanini back to Spiseski, and he dips one towards goal as well, and why not? A response from the Tigers.
I guess with Redman, it's all about being seen. If you're playing in the state leagues there and someone likes you, like
Gabby, yeah.
Like Gabby, they'll bring you in. Kind of like what happened to our good friend Tom Rodgick, playing ANU State League 1, off to Celtic.
By the shortest of stints at Belconnen United. They'll tell us. Here's Jeremy Hampton-Merriam. Started lively, and why not? He's got a goal under his belt. He's buzzing at the moment. McLaughlin, Rathjen, Sam Hampton-Merriam, who created it. He's grown in stature this season as well, the youngster, and full of confidence too, but overdoes it on that occasion. Gurney's there. Kicks up a plume of dust. It was lovely and warm earlier on, wasn't it? Temperatures dropped slightly, but it's not cold.
No, it's not too bad now. It was really good earlier in the day. Great for football.
Plenty of football in Canberra, of course. Tomorrow, McKellar Park have grand finals on, and NPL 2 and NPL 2 reserves here at Deakin. Green sends it forwards. Keita. Ferrej, who had a good chance to equalise after the goal. Off he goes. Jozefowski, options ahead of him. It took too long, and he's been tackled by Jeremy Hampton-Merriam. Now the break is on for Gunners. Michael John looking to get in behind. Di Felipe in the way. Spiseski. Parascots. Good ball over the top now for Ferrej. And Thurtell came to get it.
And he needed to. There would have been a lot of trouble if he didn't win, if Jordan Thurtell didn't win that ball.
Here's Keita. Cam. That's nicely done. He's got Jared Tanini in behind the Gungahlin defence here. Opportunity for Tigers. Tanini swings it towards Ferrej on the far post, and once again, he's got his header all wrong.
I think they're lacking Mark Shields.
Well, Hussein Ferrej did see him scoring a blinder of a header against Belconnen earlier in the season at McKellar Park. That seems to have been the exception rather than the norm.
Yeah, well, they've had two great chances at the far post with headers, and you know they need to realistically be putting at least one of those away. But I think Kuma's starting to dominate a little bit more.
Well, if there were question marks over them after they went behind, they seem to have been answered, don't they?
Yeah.
Green, lovely ball, and the run from Timotheo to match it. Battling with Di Felipe. Picking the pass, but only picking out Kita. Namoski. Timotheo had to marry him. Tonini dragged back by Anthony Timotheo. That's a fairly simple decision. And Jared Tonini asking about a card, probably.
Yeah, I think he's got every right to ask for a card there. Bringing the play back on the way, trying to sneak through.
Bruno Kell decides against it. Green. Quarter of an hour to go to half-time. Flown by this first half. Here's Tonini. Charging through. Runs into Griffiths. Timotheo. Could only find Di Felipe. Ferrej, who's had the 2 chances for the Tigers. Better with his feet than he is in the air. Good ball forward to Cam. And there's Jack Green, just too strong.
So relaxed and so calm.
Nothing phases him, does it?
No.
Timotheo. Again, looks for John, but Di Felipe read the situation really well. Now Ferrej. Tried to find Cam. Not the right accuracy on the pass. Rathjen. Griffiths. Green. Griffiths once more. Gungahlin will do this all night. They're 1-0 up. Stands out. The onus here, Ange, obviously, is on the Tigers to press.
Yeah, they do. They will need to press. I don't think they need to press this early in the game. It's only 1-0. They've had their chances, so I'm sure they're going to get a lot more.
Goes in towards John. Touch from Kita finds Tonini. He's only got Cam ahead of him. Straight into Jack Green. Doing a Saturday evening stroll across Deakin Stadium. And then lifting the ball forward towards Namoski. Redmond was there, though.
Ever so reliable Jack Green.
Everything's done at one pace, isn't it? But it's such a good pace.
Well, you could say it's done at the right pace. It's always working.
Certainly one of the best players to come out of Canberra in a number of years. The man on your screen, as we mentioned earlier, loves a goal or two. Got a crucial one last week with 6 minutes remaining to set up the 2-1 win over Olympic. Jeremy Habtemariam's penalty winning that one, and Jeremy Habtemariam is the player who's dividing the two sides at the moment. His goal off a pass from his brother, made in the back gardens of the Habtemariam household, no doubt.
I think there's going to be some rivalry between the two Habtemariams to see who can outperform each other on the field today.
Well, Samuel's got 6 goals this season, and Jeremy's got 10. Although Jeremy's played a lot more games, so. And he's got the one that matters so far, but laid on by his brother, so both will be equally happily, and so will all those supporting Gungahlin United at the moment, because they look in control. They've had their moments, though, the Tigers, on the break. Decent knock from Griffiths. Finds Timotheo. Samuel Habtemariam chasing this, and he'll roll away on the Deakin surface, which looks immaculate as ever.
Yeah, I think Canberra FC and the staff at Deakin do a fantastic job with the oval here, and I think football's the winner in the end, having a facility like this. Until Capital Football gets their own out in Throsby.
When's that due to be opened?
Late next year. We're looking to have some of it done. So end of 2020, early 21 is the hopes.
Here's John on the break. Habtemariam wide to Namoski. McLaughlin, so new home for football in Canberra, of course. Major finals likely to be played out there.
Yep, and we'll have futsal facilities out there as well. So definitely will be the home of football.
which is great. It's often neglected when it comes to sporting facilities futsal. And Canberra's home to many a proud futsal player over the years, including the man stood next to me on the gantry today. Kept goal in 2 World Cups now.
Yep, 2012, 2016.
I should know that, shouldn't I, because I was there. Rathjen. Costanzo finds Griffiths. McLaughlin. Bit of room to manoeuvre. Didn't pick the right ball. Keita. Great feet from Michael Keita. Spaseski. Keita again, but he's run that straight into Rathjen. And here's a chance. 4 Gungahlin players in this attack. One of them was Michael John, looking to get on the end of it. And he's dangerous in those runs behind, isn't he?
Definitely dangerous. Kuma is shutting it down really well, though. But you don't want to give Gungahlin too many opportunities.
We saw how Michael John can be lethal getting in behind against Canberra FC in the elimination final at the AIS, getting onto the end of Anthony Timotheo's through ball to score the 3rd goal and adding the 5th late on. Here's Namoski cutting in field. Keita's come through to win the ball, did he? Bruno Kell says no. Michael Keita looks perplexed.
He doesn't look very happy, but challenge did look like it came from behind, so.
Check on that, here we go. We can see it right now, Ange. There comes in. Oh, there's a fair bit of ankle in there, I think, wasn't there?
Yeah, I think the foul's warranted.
What it does do is leave Gungahlin with a free kick in a dangerous position. It's quite a way out from the angle, but Anthony Timotheo has got a decent whack on him.
Well,
will he shoot or will he try and chip this in?
Don't really see Jack. Well, Jack Green's wandering up there, so unless he really gets in there, I'm guessing he's going to have a shot.
Well, the angle of the run-up would suggest maybe he's going to lift that in towards the angle of the 6-yard box on the far post. We'll see. That's where it goes. It was won by Griffiths. Redmond gets rid of it. Bounced up and hit Rathjen and just been smashed up the other end of the park. Farej has now got a problem out of your picture. Limping back into the fray. Costanzo raking ball in towards Namoski, and Spaseski apologises to Jacob Cole, concedes a fairly needless corner. Obviously didn't get a call.
No, we all knew what he was trying to do, just the execution obviously wasn't there, but you know, probably safer to head it out for a throw-in as opposed to a corner, especially with Jack Green in there.
Well, he's there again on the far post. Miško Namoski to take the kick. Can he pick out someone in a black and white shirt? He did. It was Griffiths. Couldn't get enough on it, though.
I think Griffiths is actually taken away from Jack.
On the break, Lachlan Cam finds Paraskos. Gets past the first challenge and does well to find Tony Spaseski, who stayed up front. Sends it in. McLaughlin needs to deal with it. Did well, and Green. There's the calmness under pressure again, and he finds Hampton Merriam, and that's a great ball forward. Cole's come to get this, and he's missed it, and he's taken down Michael John, has he? Decision to be made by Bruno Cal. He's given it. Did he catch him with a trailing leg? And this is a big, big moment, Angelo.
It's definitely a big moment.
Bruno Cal's going to go and have a chat on the far side with Adam Powers about whether or not this was deliberate. I don't think Jacob Cole meant this. Let's have a look. He missed the ball and caught him with it. Did he stick a leg out there?
He was trying to dive to win the ball with a header.
Was there a second movement in the leg here, Angelo? There's the first miss there. Difficult to say, isn't it?
Difficult to say, and difficult to if there was actual intent there. But
well, if there was, then it's a straight red, isn't it?
Absolutely.
But the decision will be made by Adam Powers and Bruno Kell. This has a huge bearing on the outcome of this match. 7 minutes to half-time. You can hear what the Gungahlin fans think it should be. Jacob Cole walking a tightrope.
And this is where Gungahlin is very dangerous. Kuma was on the attack in their own on the other side, and Gungahlin's won the ball, and you know they're on a goal to Kuma, and now Jacob Cole's, like you said, doesn't know what's happening.
Only he knows whether or not that was deliberate. But Bruno Kell needs to make a decision. He's reaching for the back pockets. What colour is this going to be? It's red, and Jacob Cole walks. And another massive moment in the grand final. And I can only assume that that second act of the kick out is what's given him the card. But Jacob Cole will walk. Mitch Kay is the substitute goalkeeper. Well, Ange.
That's a big call from Bruno.
Well, he took his time, spoke to his assistant about it. I mean, obviously those in yellow are going to think it's wrong, and those in black and white are going to think it's the correct decision.
Even me and you looking at it was a 50-50 on what we decided, so it's going to be even harder.
Well, we had the benefit of the replay as well.
Yeah, going to be a lot harder for the referees out there to make a live decision.
Well, Mitch Kay, the young goalkeeper, is going to come on. Who's coming off? Is it Lachlan Cam, the forwards? His grand final is over. Kay will go back in goal, and they've lost Guerrero injured. They've already missing Shields and Bailey. Everything that could go wrong has gone wrong. Jacob Cole sent off, and not only that, they need to defend this free kick.
2 substitutions in the first half. So.
You look at the replay, and there was connection there. Whether or not, like you said, it was deliberate or not, it's just a split-second reaction. It could have gone either way.
It's definitely a connection. Jacob, was wrong-footed, dove to try win the ball, and yeah, I think a trailing leg is probably what's got him sent off.
It was probably the trailing leg that he probably flicked out to try and get the ball and connected with Michael John instead. Element of sympathy for him.
It's a very difficult one. I don't think Michael John would have got through to get the ball, but the rules are the rules, I guess.
Tigers down to 10. Free kick in a dangerous position as well. Tom McLaughlin, eyes have lit up at this. Mitch Kay, who's just come on the field, the first thing he's got to do is defend this. This could be a double whammy.
I think they're going to have a strike this close.
Tommy McLaughlin's not bad from free kicks from this range.
Especially with a new keeper, they're going to want to test him straight away.
Last year we saw Jacob Cole sent off in an elimination final at this venue. At that end. History repeats. It's Tom McLaughlin. It's straight at Mitch Kay. And that's a good early touch from the young keeper as he just walks on the field. He probably wasn't expected to play this afternoon. All to do. Lovely dummy Tonini. Green comes across. It's Baseski in a hurry. What that does do is give that sense of injustice to the Tigers as well, Ange, which they might feed on.
Well, you look at you saw the women's game just before this where they had a player sent off, and that went to extra time. I thought Canberra FC did really well with 10 players, so let's see what Cooma can do, even though they've got a bit further to travel because they're 1-0 down.
Everything that could go wrong has gone wrong, as I said. But Tigers will call on their resilience. Lachlan Griffiths is caught there by Jozefowski. Free kick to Gungahlin. And you can watch that replay 100 times and everyone will have different opinions about what the decision should have been. All we can say is from the officials' viewpoint, they took their time, they discussed it, and they came up with a decision. Whether you agree with it or not, at least the process was followed.
Absolutely, and like you said, we've got the benefit of the replay. They've got to watch it live, so it makes it all the more difficult to make a decision.
1-0 down with 10 players. Centre back off injured. Much to do for Tigers. Here's Hampton Merriam. First thing to do is perhaps hold out till half-time.
That's a must. If they go down 2-0, that's going to make things a lot more difficult to come back.
Gives them a chance to regroup, but they need to reshuffle again as well because they've lost Cam now as their centre forwards. Jozefowski's going to play up front there on his own, but he's not got the pace of the youngster, has he? It'd be difficult to ask him to do that for 90 minutes.
He might not have the pace, but he's got the brains. Goran's been around. He's been playing for a lot of years.
And what he is really good at, and this is a compliment, is drawing fouls.
Absolutely.
To slow things down and give his team a chance to recover.
He knows how to play the game.
Timotheu finds Green. Bit of space for him to work here. Jack Green, he lined one up from range. Comes from McLaughlin. Jozowski battling back to win it. Paraskos involved too. Here's Green. Somehow gets past two and then slides it towards Timotheu. Couldn't get on the end of it. He's going to run for Sam Habtemariam. Pulls it back for Jack Green in the penalty area. Down he goes under the challenge. No penalty. All happening here at Deakin Stadium. Didn't think it looked like a penalty, did it?
No. Well, Shieldsy got sent off for that last one.
I didn't want to bring it up, but he did, didn't he? Got a yellow card for a dive that was probably less than that, but I don't know. Haven't seen a replay of that one, so here's McLaughlin. Surprised Green didn't pull the trigger when he got in there. Took the touch instead.
I think Jack's pushing to try finish this game by half-time.
Coming into final 30 seconds. Gary Vanderbilt over on the far side will show us in a moment how many minutes we expect. Gungahlin have a corner. Timotheu to take. Wants to go short to Namoski. Squeezes it through the legs of Spaseski. Habtemariam. Well won back by Ferej. We're going to get 3 minutes of time added on at the end of this half. Here's McLaughlin. Lifts it in towards where Jeremy Habtemariam was lurking. Too high. Doesn't head the ball much though, Jeremy, does he?
Jeremy would rather not use his head in situations like that.
Doesn't want to mess up the hair. It's his goal, though, that separates the two teams. It's been full of drama this first 45 minutes.
It's been full of a lot of drama. Kuma 2 subs down, keeper sent off.
Here's John getting in behind here as well. And clicked away off his toe by Di Felipe. Tigers hanging on in there. Mishko Namoski to take the corner, perhaps. Had a discussion with Timotheu about it, and it will be Namoski, but possibly the last chance of the half. Gunners would love to double their advantage here. Namoski swings it in. Green was coming in. Finds his way all the way through to Timotheu. McLaughlin.
And this is a crucial time. Kuma would not want to concede a goal now.
Rathjen. Namoski. Rathjen once more. You can see what Gungahlin are happy to see it out. And now pick the pass. Rathjen's ball forwards. Redmond was there. Rathjen heavily involved in this first half. Heavily involved in what's been an excellent season for the midfielder. Goes unnoticed a little bit in this team, doesn't he? But does the engine work for them?
A lot of the good players do go unnoticed. They just go about doing their job.
Green. Griffiths.
I think Gungahlin happy to see out the...
Oh, there's Rathjen again. Turning on the party tricks. McLaughlin. Sam Habtemariam. Injects a bit of pace. John. Jeremy Habtemariam. Is there time for them to carve one more opening? It doesn't seem to be.
I think we'll put the Rathjen little party tricks down to his futsal.
Another player well versed in the indoor game. Good grounding, isn't it, for outdoor football?
Absolutely. Josifovsky played, Jeremy's played, Habtemariam.
Here is Jeremy Habtemariam. Well, that's a rather agricultural challenge from Michael Keita. We're going to have time for one last free kick, it would appear. Timotheu over the ball. Goran Jozowski just wasting a few seconds.
Knows exactly what he's doing.
Timotheo spreads it wide to Nomoski. Not many shirts to pick in the penalty area. Rathjen lifts it in towards Timotheo. He's stolen a march here for a moment. Here's Jack Green, and that flash is just wide. Got a deflection.
Corner.
Not really going to have time, are we? Must have played the 3 minutes by now.
It's been a pretty long 3 minutes.
Seems to have been, doesn't it? Looks like Bruno Kell's going to let this go. So this will be the last chance, or will it? No, they've taken too long. So it's half-time, Ange, and we've only had the one goal, Jeremy Haptamarian, but we've had plenty of drama. A send-off, which we actually think probably was a send-off in the scheme of things. It's left Cuba down to 10. They've lost Guerrero injured as well. It's difficult to see a way back.
No, it's going to be very difficult for Kuma to see a way back, but you know what? It's only 1-0 and they've battled this long. They just another 45 minutes to battle, but I don't know.
Well, the men on your screen are what we've been talking about in the first half. The referee, Bruno Kell, sent off Jacob Cole, we think correctly, for a kick out on Michael John, who was through on goal, leaving the Tigers down to 10 men. The one bit of quality in the first half came after about 20 minutes, and Samuel Habtemariam created a chance for Jeremy Habtemariam. He never looked like missing his 10th of the season. At the break, all the cards are stacked in favour of Gungahlin United. A huge half-time team top for Gabby Wilk and his team. They have a mountain to climb. At half-time in the NPL Grand Final, it's 10-man Tigers FC 0, Gungahlin United 1. Welcome back to Deakin Stadium, the second half of the NPL Grand Final, when we had a first half to forget for Tigers FC, forced to make 2 changes. Dimitri Praskos coming on for now, Aguero injured, and then forced to take off Lachlan Cam, Mitch Kay, the sub-goalkeeper, coming on because Jacob Cole was sent off, and also they're 1-0 down. Jeremy Habtemarian scored. Amras gives you commentator joining me, having jogged around the pitch from his half-time, getting himself some chips or something, is Angelo Costantino. Angelo, welcome back. And we mentioned in the end of the first half, it is a long way back here for the Tigers.
It's definitely a long way back. Thinking about it more during the halftime break, I don't know if it's going to be too high to climb.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult one, isn't it? But they've got a lot of heart in this team. And it's
definitely, that's what Kuma definitely has. They know how to dig deep, especially with Goran. He'll make them dig deep, and hopefully they can turn it around and see how they go. Everything
lined up in favour of Gunners, who line up in the second half. Third cell, Costanzo, Griffiths, Green, Rafjan, McLaughlin, Timotheu, Jeremy Habtemarian, the scorer. Now Mosky, Michael John and Samuel Habtemarian. Tigers with Kay in goals, Paseski, Paraskos, Redman, Gurney, Kita, Di Felipe, Tonini, Ferej and Jozefovski, a man down, of course. All the preparation in the world doesn't help you when you have a player sent off. You have to swap your goalkeeper. You made 2 changes as well, which is going to hurt them come later on.
Well, yeah, if I was Marcel and Gungahlin, I'd be running Kuma around for the first 30 minutes.
Timotheu's touch. John, back to Timotheu. Habtemarian's made the run forwards. Spaseski with him. Habtemarian's got it behind him now. Spaseski's in trouble. He is in real trouble as well, and the free kick decision goes against Jeremy Habtemarian. What did you make of that, Ange?
I think Spaseski was in the front, so we'll have a look at the replay and see what that says.
Was there a little shirt pull from Habtemarian maybe? Let's have a look. He's got him behind him. Well, it's difficult to say, isn't it? He's got goal side of him, and maybe Spaseski's dodged a bullet.
He has. He looks like he's fallen over or was tripped or something along those lines. And
the decision somehow has gone against Gungahlin.
They would have been in all sorts of trouble because...
Well, that would have been red, wouldn't it?
Well, that, but Gungahlin also had a player running straight through the middle, so it would have been 2-on-1 with the keeper.
Well, Kuma, dodge one there. Rafjan, Timotheu. And he looks to put John in over the top, in between Redman and Di Felipe. There was a little bit of a guilty look in Tony Spaseski's eye, I think. Kita bursting forward. Great run this from Michael Kita. 3-on-3. Tonini. Outside him, Spaseski making a run forward for Tigers. Tonini runs into Jack Green. Ball comes clear for Spaseski. There's Green again. Timotheu can't get past Paraskos. He goes past 2, and then he's cleaned out by Jack Green, who may see a yellow card here as well. And he probably should.
Kuma Tigers are not happy. Let's see what Bruno...
There has to be a card of some description, doesn't it? Well, Bruno Kell's chatting with Jack Green here, and Hussein Ferej. Here's the challenge. It's just gone right through him.
I think that's got to be. It's got to be.
There's no card for Jack Green.
He's got away with that.
Well, that's remarkable. 2 decisions at the start of the second half.
That's very interesting from Bruno.
Well, one on Spaseski and one by Spaseski. So we thought Spaseski was lucky. Jack Green just as much so. Tigers with a free kick. Di Felipe to take. Plenty of yellow shirts forward. In fact, the most that they've committed to attack during the match. It's a good delivery as well, and Jack Green wins the header. Of course he does. He always wins the header.
Decent cross, though. They just need to get a head on it.
Here's Rafjan. Spaseski. Gurney needs to be careful here and defends it well. Mitch Kay, the young keeper. Finds Tonini. Gunners will look to go with a bit of pace at the start of the second half, you'd think.
think they just need to keep the ball and keep running Kuma around, because two substitutes down, there's only so much legs they can have to keep running.
Costanza with the throw. Rathjen, who's been excellent so far. Do you get a vote in player of the match?
I'm not sure. So I'd say no.
So I'd say no. They both told you. Well, if you did, he'd be up there, wouldn't he? So far, Rathjen.
Yeah, he's been all over the park. Normally a quiet character, old Nick Rathjen. He seems to be doing really well at Gungahlin.
Well, he's less than 40 minutes away from a grand final medal. Here's Samuel Hampton-Mariam. Gets past Gurney, had a nibble at him. That's a free kick as well. And that hurt Samuel Hampton-Mariam. Gunners get on with it. McLaughlin finds Griffiths. Green. Happy to keep possession. No real need to rush anything.
No, not at all. But you don't want to be keeping 1-0 for too long against Kuma.
Tigers will continue to fight, though, till the bitter ends.
That's definitely one thing Kuma will do, give you 100% for the full 90 minutes.
Saw briefly the Nick Rathjen fan club, I think, over on the far side there. Seems to have brought a few supporters with him and got their own sheet with his name and number on it. McLaughlin has it back, and he's got freedom at Deakin Stadium to pick a pass here. Timotheu, good first touch. Namoski lets it run. Green snuck in on the left-hand side, and he tried to find Michael John, but Mitch Kay was ever present. Redman, good pick, finds Ferej. Only Jozefowski ahead of him, 4 black and white shirts back defending. Jozefowski tried to find Tanini and
just needed to lob that over the top. I don't know if Gungahlin would have been able to stop that one.
Costanzo, lovely touch. Rathjen, Timotheu comes off of Gurney's arm, and there's a card for Michael Gurney for a handball which was possibly unavoidable.
It's an interesting yellow card, considering he was so close to the other player. If he actually was able to put his hand out in time.
You saw Bruno Kell indicate that it was for a series of offences, but I'm not sure what else more he could have done there. I don't think he stuck his arm out.
He had
a yard away.
He had his hand slightly out to start with, but I don't think he's literally put his hand out to get to the ball. So very interesting decision.
Second Tiger to get a card today, well, a yellow card I should say. Jacob Cole sent off, if you just joined us. In the first half, the Tigers goalkeeper, Hampton-Mariam, picks the smallest of gaps to find Timotheu. Keita, though, and that's a pullback from Timotheu, and that's twice he's done that now as well. So you think the totting up process, how is that not a yellow?
Going back on that, yeah. And I think Timotheo's are probably a bit worse because they're more blatant.
Well,
playback.
It stops the attack, doesn't it? It's just bizarre. Yeah. Anyway, Hampton-Mariam's been laid low now as well. Here's Samuel Hampton-Mariam running at Gurney. Jack Green looks to find him back again. It's all getting a bit messy, isn't it? And a bit confusing.
It is. I think both teams have lost a bit of structure.
Ferej putting the hammer down. Good run and good cross. Unfortunately, there's not many in yellow in support for him. Green, calm as ever.
I think the no structure is going to suit Kuma more than it'll probably suit Gungahlin, who are definitely normally more structured as they play the 90 minutes.
McLaughlin's ball forwards. Redman sends it high into the night sky. Spiseski keeps it alive. Keita, who's been a bright spark, I think, for the Tigers today.
I think he's done really well, actually, Keita.
Spiseski only gives it away to Timotheu. Rathjen takes it forward. Off goes Michael John in behind. Here's Namoski on the left wing. Can he pick out a cross? Finds Sam Hampton-Mariam. Forces their winger a bit wide though. And he's happy to come home to Costanzo. McLaughlin wants it, midfield, gets it. Can he find the ball through? Throw. Costanzo to take. We're going to see a final change, and it's an early one too. Tony Matafari is coming on for Goran Jozefovski. This is the final change.
Has Goran just run out of legs, or?
It's interesting, wasn't it? Tony Matafari's got pace. Now they can put him on the break maybe, but it's an interesting change only 10 minutes into the second half. And that's the deck shuffled.
I think he's played all his cards. Like hopefully nothing else goes wrong for Cooma Tigers, or looks like it's going to be Gungalin's day again.
McLaughlin. Well, everything's stacked in their favour, isn't it?
At this point in time, more than stacked.
Would take a miracle, you would feel, for the Tigers to turn this around somehow. A team, as I said, who scored 1 goal in about 500 minutes of football.
Just nothing. I don't think anything's gone right today for him. Don't know how much they could have done to prevent it, but...
Well, since the first 5 or 6 minutes, when Noel Aguero just climbed to head a ball clear, landed awkwardly on his ankle, since then, everything that's gone wrong could have gone wrong. They've conceded, red cards.
Missed 2 headers at the back post.
Yeah, chances came and went. We talked about it in the women's grand final with Matt Moore. He was here, and sometimes you just know it's not going to be your day sometimes.
Oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you think you've done everything right. If it's not your day, it's not your day.
Green looks for John. De Felipe's there. Redmond, good first touch. Second one sends it forwards. Timotheou's touch. Now here's Sam Habtemarian in a bit of space. Created the first goal, Sam Habtemarian. He's off on another run. Gets a ricochet. Here's Jeremy Habtemarian. It's deja vu. Sam Habtemarian to Jeremy Habtemarian. Gungahlin 2-0 up and on their way to grand final glory.
Goal for Gungahlin United, number 10, Jeremy Habtemarian taking the lead.
We thought that ball wasn't going to get through, but ricocheted off and landed at his brother's feet.
He sold Gurney here, didn't he? And he's gone into the penalty area. And here's the ricochet. Goes straight to Jeremy Habtemarian. And what were we talking about? If it's not your day, it's not your day. It falls to the one spot where they didn't want it to fall. Jeremy Habtemarian is on a grand final hat-trick. Gungahlin United are 32 minutes away from a remarkable conclusion to an unbelievable season.
And you say for Cooma, if it's not your day, it's not your day. But for Gungahlin, if it is your day, it is your day, you know. I think Jack's got lucky not to get a yellow. They've had a couple of other things fall their way.
Well, we've seen it, haven't we? We're talking about how Timotheou's not got a card himself. Yeah. Jack Green with that challenge, how he's not got a card there. It's just one of those things.
And the ball falling at Jeremy's feet.
And if you're a Tigers fan or player right about now, you're thinking just nothing happening for us. We're not even getting any decisions. Keita, he won't give up fighting though. Matafari, his first involvement. Decent ball in as well, and that's a good defensive header by Griffiths. Because Jarrett Tanini was in on goal there.
Fantastic ball, fantastic clearance. That would have been... Gungahlin would have been in a lot of danger. I don't think Thurtell would have been able to do much if someone got their head on that.
Well, it's point blank range, wasn't it? Corner for the Tigers. They've been few and far between. Ferej delivers deep towards Paseski. Good header to create some space for him. And the cross was good as well. And Jack Green got in the way of it. De Felipe wants to get on with it.
Trusty Jack again, he's everywhere.
Yeah, he'd be there or thereabouts for grand final player of the match, you would think. That one swung in and Bruno Kell
I think it's got in the way.
Got in the way of Tony Matafari.
Again, not Kuma's day.
It's been some interesting decisions, hasn't there? We talk about this Paseski one as well when Habtemarian was through on goal, and it just confuses people. Thurtell, haven't had to mention him too much this evening. Green, just how he'd like it, I'd imagine.
No, I think he'd really like it. And I was waiting for some big games from Thurtell and Jacob Cole, but you know, Jacobs obviously not here, and Thurtell hasn't actually had a lot to do.
He hasn't had a save to make, has he? Two headers that they should have scored, but they didn't trouble the goalkeeper at all. Here's Hampton Merriam. Keita throws him over. Rathjen takes the free kick. Half an hour to go in the grand final. Everything going the way of Gungahlin United. 2-0 up, just as they would have hoped it. McLaughlin finds Griffiths. Rathjen. Costanzo. Di Felipe's there. And you look at these, the awards for player of the match, Ange, and the Valeri medal is given to the winner of it here in Canberra. Jeremy Hampton is probably going to get it for scoring 2 goals, but it's not necessarily the players that score the goals that are making the difference here.
No, and we were talking about the women's medal in the game before. Like, do you have to give it to a player in the team that actually won the competition?
Yeah.
And my answer was no. There's definitely some players out there, without them, you'd struggle a lot more. But, you know, the credit always goes to the person that scores the goal.
And as I said, this man on the ball here, Nick Rathjen, has been at the heartbeat of everything they've done today. And that's a lovely ball over the top, looking for Michael John. He might get in behind Di Felipe. Mitch Kay came well, and to be fair to the keeper, he's done well since he's come on, thrown into a situation as he was.
Absolutely. Don't think there was much he could have done about the goal. Going back to Nick Rathjen, though, you know, if you put Nick Rathjen up against Jeremy Hampton and you ask someone for a player of the game, I'm guessing they're going to lean towards Jeremy because
of the goals.
2 goals. But
here's John.
But Nick's been everywhere.
I tend to agree, and it's one of those things that depends on who's voting and what they're watching at. I'll tell you what he has done there. He's had a little nibble, Nick Rathjen. Again, probably should be getting a card for that.
I think that's done on purpose. And
I agree.
You know.
And this is why, if you're a Cooma Tigers player right now, you're asking the question, aren't you? It's only so many times you can have a word with the player.
Exactly, and he's built it up. He's built it up for one of the Cooma players before, but surely you can build it up over the team if you're going to play that game.
Well, you'd think so. Here's Hampton Merriam. Namoski. Jack Green's off on a run forward. He loves these runs forward. That's found Michael John. Getting in behind. Green's up with him. John. Hampton Merriam. Rathjen. Green goes down under the challenge to Spaseski. That's a free kick, and yet the one very similar earlier wasn't.
You could nearly say he was looking for a free kick. I guess that's the experience of Jack Green, and he's got what he wanted.
Opportunity here for Gungahlin to swing something into the penalty area. Green's on the far post. Griffiths has joined him in attack. Samuel Hampton-Merriam's there, although his aerial threat is fairly minimal.
Cooma doesn't even have the personnel to leave up top.
Everybody in a yellow shirt behind the ball. Swung in towards Jack Green. Good header. I think that was Di Felipe who got there, and Ferrej sends it up front where there's nobody waiting. Timotheo. Costanzo. Timotheo runs into Gurney. Michael Gurney. He's worked hard. "25 minutes or so to play. And if it was a mountain to climb in the first half of the Tigers, it's, well, almost stratospheric now, isn't it?
I think we've gone from Mount Ainsley to Mount Kosciuszko or Mount Everest at the moment.
Spot on, I think. Could get worse as well. Here's Namoski. He goes down under a fairly hefty challenge from Spaseski. He felt that as well. Right in front of the Tigers supporters.
Game's starting to get a bit messy, actually. A few late challenges, and
we can understand the frustration sometimes, can't you?
Absolutely.
With players, seeing opposition players make challenges which you think, well, that's a clear yellow, and he's not giving anything. And it does ball up into frustration.
Well, we're up here, Russ, and we're thinking about some of these decisions.
Exactly, and we're completely neutral.
Yeah. Look, I don't think Bruno's had the worst game. I think he's done okay.
Well, Liam Walsh is going to get a run here for Tom McLaughlin, the proud Yorkshireman. Liam Walsh likes to fill up on Yorkshire tea. He's no shrinking violet either, is he? Liam Walsh, he likes a challenge or two. Tom McLaughlin getting a very warm round of applause from the Gunners fans. And Liam Walsh will just tuck into that midfield role where McLaughlin was. Add some more defensive cover.
I think Marcel's just trying to see the game out now.
Generally, when Walsh comes in, it's an excuse for Jack Green to go a bit further forward as well, because he knows he's got extra cover behind him. Griffiths. Madafari gets past Jack Green. And off he goes, and that's first involvement for Walsh at the expense of a corner.
If Cooma Tigers are able to snag a goal here somewhere or in the next couple of minutes, it's going to make for a very interesting final.
Well, it seems so unlikely, hasn't it? So it would be amazing if they could. Farage in towards Keita.
It does seem unlikely, but you know they're having corners and they're up there.
Spaseski, he'll keep battling away, and he's got a bit of quality about him as well. You wouldn't put it past him, would you, to pull one back in? As we said, it's a Herculean task from here for them to try and get back into this one at 2-0 down. But they found a bit of space here. Lawrence Redmond had stole in, and his first touch let him down somewhat.
It's little things like that. If you made a better first touch, he was pretty much on goal.
Not noted as a goal scorer, Lawrence Redmond, only the one this season. Had a chance here in the FA Cup, which was cleared off the line. That swung in towards him, and that's a massive air swing that's turned into a 1-2. Delivered back towards the far post, and Thurtell called into action for the first time. Has to claw that one behind. Wasn't sure where it was dropping. Keita with the corner. Good delivery into the area. Met by Griffiths. Spaseski, Michael John with a high foot. A free kick in a dangerous position. Once again, there were questions from the Tigers. He pulled out of it more than anything, didn't he?
I think lucky Michael John's actually pulled out of that, or that could have got pretty messy.
Farage behind this free kick. Is this a shooting chance for Tigers? It is Farage, and he's fired it at goal, and Thurtell saves it. I think the touch put him off a little bit, to be honest.
I think so as well, but they're going to need a lot more than that to even think about trying to get past Thurtell from that range.
Rathjen runs into Farage.
I would have thought he would have just hit it straight on. I don't know what the touch was for.
The same Farage had a decent season. Four goals for him. Tigers won the Federation Cup, of course, and qualified for the FFA Cup. Played here against Hume City. And were beaten 2-0 on the night. Hume City now into the quarterfinals, where they'll play the Central Coast Mariners. So no disgrace, really.
That'll be an interesting game.
The Mariners, often seen as the scalp you can take as an A-League team, isn't it? Although they've been in good form. Good win against Brisbane in the last rounds.
Okay. I guess no A-League team's a good team to play.
Well, we'll know when we get one here in Canberra.
Only time will tell.
Whenever that may be. Griffiths. When he's left that short, he's given it straight to Tanini. Yellow shirts flooding into the area. Madafari. Looking to see if he can create something. Lifted into the penalty area. Farage onside. What a save. Jordan Thurtell. There was their chance.
That's an outstanding save. Spread
Brilliant
himself well, and you know that could have been 2-1, and like I said earlier, it could have changed the game.
What a save that was. We'll have a look at it again here, Ange. Ferej was there, all intents and purposes. Wow, brilliant stop by John Thurtell. That's what he's there for. In the meantime, Mishko Nomoski is coming off, and Zach Barbatano is coming on, and he'll add extra pace on the break.
Well, we talk about Jordan wasn't doing much in goal over there, but I guess that's why you pay the big bucks for this.
Well, according to action, that was a moment, wasn't it? If Tigers could have pulled one back there with 20 minutes to play, John Thurtell with a world-class save. Up to Mariam. Timotheu. First involvement for Barbatano. He's got the skills and the trickery to run at them here, Zach Barbatano. Pulling it back. Missed every single player in a black and white shirt. He's good to watch, Zach Barbatano, isn't he? He's a lively ball of energy, great skills.
Got a couple of players with a bit of energy out there, you know, when Jeremy's...
Well, this might fall for Michael John in behind the defenders here. Here's Michael John, finds the side netting. Some of the Gunners fans thought he made it 3. Wasn't his best finish, was it?
No. It's pretty poor, actually.
You get the feeling he's going to get a few more, though, and chances before the end. By his standards, it was. A great feat from Ferej. Off he goes. Costanzo labouring to catch up with Hussein Ferej. Still going, Ferej. Great run this is. And Lachlan Griffiths brings it to a conclusion. Good energy, though.
Look, they haven't, Kuma haven't backed down.
Keita past Rathjen. They've not given this up, have they?
No.
To their utmost credits.
And if you're Gungahlin, you don't want to be going out there thinking the game's already won either.
Well, that's the danger, isn't it? We have been talking about hills and mountains and what have you. But they're there to be conquered. Mitch Kay comes to fetch with connects better than Cole did in the first half. Barbatano, off he goes. Look at the skills, and he's been hauled down by Tony Matafari, and he's going in the book. Another Tigers player.
Oh, there's another one.
Oh, what happened there? Just off the ball? Another card?
No, someone's ran in and had a few words to Bruno, and also been given a yellow.
Was it Lawrence Redmond? Well, I'm a bit confused by this because I thought dissent was 10 minutes in the bin.
Well, it should be.
But it's a yellow card.
No, it should actually be, it should actually be a sin bin.
So I didn't see who that was, did you?
No, I actually missed it.
If you're watching at home and you saw who got that card, flick us a message. But if it was for dissent, I'm surprised they're not in the bin. Free kick for Hampton Merriam. So it was Jared Tonini on screen who got the card. For a chat, here it is. And he's gone for a bin. So he has sent him to the sin bin now. It's not a yellow card.
So he's given a yellow, and then obviously...
Well, he can't. He has to give him the sin bin or the yellow. He can't give him both.
Well, I'm sure there was 2 yellows out there, but...
So the sin bin, I think he's rectified his situation. Hampton Merriam drive the free kick in. I think he's realised that the dissent should be sin binable. So he has gone to the sin bin now, Tonini, for 10 minutes. It's all getting a little bit scrappy. So Tonini, they're now down to 9 for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what's actually taken place there.
Well, I can understand that dissent is a sin bin offence, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
All I can imagine is that Bruno Kell's forgotten that there's a sin bin in place, issued the yellow card, and then was reminded by those around him, his officials, that it should be a sin bin. And he's rectified the situation.
And I don't have a problem with that.
He's got it right eventually.
Yeah, And that's, yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
If it's generally a mistake.
If he knows he's got it wrong and he's corrected it.
We've got the right outcome.
Exactly.
Yeah. But it frustrates Tigers even more.
No, it does. But in the end, they've got the outcome that should have happened.
Well, they're going to play with 9 men for 10 minutes. And this is an ideal opportunity for the Gunners to finish this off once and for all. Parascos. Would say he's running down a blind alley, but he's not got many teammates to pass to.
The yellow shirts look pretty scarce out there at the moment.
There's not many of them around, is there? I mean, and all credit to them still in yellow. They are putting the effort in, and they must be absolutely knackered.
Oh.
Here's Costanzo. Looking for the run of Samuel Habtemarian. Good ball to find him. Redmond's across there. And sends that out into the houses behind us, into the park. Waste a few seconds on this sin bin. Here's Rathjen. Green. Can he pick a pass? Of course he can. He found Sam Habtemarian. Taking on Gurney. He's already created 2, Sam Habtemarian. He's into the area. Inviting the challenge. It was made by Ferrej. It was a good one. Parascos. Driving run. Only Matafari ahead of him. Walsh wins it back. Timotheou's touch. Here's Barbatano running at a depleted Tigers defence. Chance here for Timotheu, and that's 3-0. Game, set, and match. The Tigers will win, the Gungahlin rather will win the grand final. Anthony Timotheu, another goal created by Barbatano. It's 9-man Tigers torn apart.
And I think that's all started from Walsh.
Here it is, Barbatano's cutback. An erring finish, wasn't it? Not a lot Mitch Kay could do about it.
No, but like I was saying before, I think Walsh has won the ball further up, which allowed them to get on goal.
The Tigers feel they should have had a free kick by Walsh's challenge, and as we said, they'll be feeling like the world's against them right about now for Gabby Wilk and his team. And it must be really soul-destroying for them with 9 players on the park. But ask the Gunners if they care. Their supporters won't.
I don't think, yeah.
They've been through a fair bit themselves this season. Rathjen. Di Felipe. You hope it doesn't blow out though, Ange, don't you?
No,
because they don't deserve it.
And that's what we hope doesn't happen, because I think they've worked really hard. You know, do they deserve to win it, like based on what we've got in front of us? Probably not. But have they worked hard, and do they deserve a blowout? Definitely not.
No, they definitely don't. They've definitely put 100% effort in, and they're 3-0 down. But from their point of view, it could get messy in this last 10 minutes. They've only got 9 players, as I keep saying. Tonini's got a few more minutes to see out of his sin bin, especially against the rampant Gunners. Barbatano, what a thumping challenge from Spaseski. It's a good one too. I'll tell you what, Barbatano would have felt that. That's a great challenge. Time to perfection by the fullback. Would you call him a fullback now with 9 players on the park? Fullback slash winger slash central midfielder?
I think half the team's a fullback.
Jaya Wilk seems perplexed.
They did a lot of rearranging before the game. They've done a lot more during the game.
They were up against it before the kickoff. They were up against it after 10 minutes, and as Cole got sent off, they're up against it even more.
I don't think you would have picked a storyline like this.
You couldn't have scripted it, could you, really? It's been an incredible season in Capital Football. That's come off of Jack Green. The Gunners, as we said, started the season, they had a bye in round 1, so they were effectively 9 points behind most teams. Then they lost to Canberra Olympic in round 2, so they were 12 points behind 3 or 4 other sides before they'd even kicked a football in, before they even won a game. Spaseski sends it forwards.
And you go back to that Jordan Thurtell save.
2-0,
yeah. 2-0. Could have been 2-1. they still would have had 10 players on the pitch. Would have been a completely different game.
It's sport for you, isn't it? On such little things. Can momentum swing, and it's definitely in favour of Gungahlin United. Cruising their way at the moment to grand final glory. 10 minutes left. Barbatano. Habtemariam. Michael John. He'll fancy his chances to get a goal now. Walsh. Timotheu. In towards Habtemariam. He's still on that hat-trick, remember? Can't remember the last time he had a grand final hat-trick. Would have been back in...
The only way Jeremy's going to score is if Samuel sets him up.
I think there was a hat-trick here. I think Robbie Deedy got a hat-trick in defeat, didn't he, in an 8-5 here many years ago.
What was that, Canberra FC versus Canberra?
This was Olympic, yeah. I think you probably played in that as well, didn't you?
No, that was the game I actually played in the under-20s.
Because you were 20 back then, were you?
Yeah, not far off.
Another free kick for Gungahlin. Opportunity for a strike at goal. Timotheu might fancy this. And he's lining one up as if he fancies a crack at goal here, Anthony Timotheu. Looking to add to his 4th goal of the season, which he struck so crisply. Here is Timotheu. Sweeps it at goal. It's easy for Mitch Kay. Just under 10 minutes to go. Tanini waits to come back on. Rathjen.
Oh, Rathjen playing centre back now?
Is there nothing he can't do? Like I said, others will probably get the medal for player of the match, but he's been up there for me. John battling with Di Felipe. It's a good little battle too. He's done him really well, Michael John. Past the seconds, but Spaseski's back to make sure it doesn't get any worse. And Jose Di Felipe is having a chat with the ref now. Wants to be careful. Jack Green. Timotheu. Green let it run. Redmond's there. Tiptoes his way past the challenge and then slides in, studs up. And he's done himself a disservice as well. I think he's got a bit of cramp.
I think he's cramping, yeah.
And there's a little bit of a fight here as well. And Paraskos was there with Barbatano, and there's a yellow card for Zach Barbatano, I believe. And Spaseski's getting involved too, does unnecessarily. I think that card was for Barbatano, wasn't it?
It's not what we want to see, though.
It's a free kick to Kuma, yeah. All a bit unnecessary at this stage with 7.5 minutes to go. Here's the challenge again. Barbatano foul, and then there's a bit of a reaction from Paraskos. Barbatano sees yellow. It's the first from Gungahlin to be sanctioned this evening. Buddy Abbas is coming on. The last change.
Tanini shouldn't be far off either.
Well, they're asking a question about whether Jared Tanini can come back on. The answer is yes. It's Lachlan Griffiths who's gone off for Abbas, I think. Free kick, which Spaseski will launch forwards. 6.5 minutes to play. Redmond with a flick on. Costanzo nods it clear. Redmond again. Now the break will be on. Timotheu picks the pass for Habtemariam. He's got John with him. Good touch from Habtemariam, but Michael John beaten to it by Mitch Kay. Abbas's first header. Barbatano. Sam Habtemariam. Rathjen. Which pass would he pick? Look for Timotheu. Almost finds Sam Habtemariam by the boot of Michael Gurney. It has done. Looking for Barbatano. Michael John on the turn! Oh, dear me! He has given that some venom. And he has wrapped it up in some style. Michael John, the leading goal scorer, gets his 14th of the season. I doubt he's hit any better.
Michael John, that takes it to 4-0.
What a strike that was. Talk us through this, Ange.
Again, bit of a mistouch from Gungahlin. Fell neatly for Michael John, and he's absolutely thumped the back of the net on him.
Could he have hit that any better?
I don't think many goalkeepers are saving that, to be honest.
He absolutely laced that into the top corner. And the young substitute, Mitch Kay, I doubt he even saw it.
No, but I don't think Michael John does things half-hearted. He's not one to place them in corners. He's normally hitting them pretty hard whenever he's hitting a ball.
Well, if there is the icing on the cake, it's a pretty sweet one as far as Gungahlin are concerned. 4-0 up. Costanzo sends it forwards to Hampton Merriam. Gurney still fighting for the cause, and that's a bit ugly from Di Felipe. The referee's not seen it, so maybe he has. Alex McConaughey's seen something. There's a chat here. And he's trying to talk to Bruno Ken about something. I'm not sure what he's seen. The challenge was interesting, let's say.
I think it's a challenge of defeat, to be honest.
Well, you can see it's so frustrated, isn't he?
Yeah.
Here's John. We don't want it to get ugly. And there's another lunging challenge. Gets the ball this time.
Somehow won the ball there, I don't know.
It's a good ball forward. Here's Jared Tanini. Now then, has he got the pace to get away from Jack Green? Tanini from the angle couldn't quite finish. He's given it his all, hasn't he, Jared Tanini, as he does every single week.
Made a wonderful run, but I just honestly think he's run out of legs and wasn't able to put the ball on target.
He was having a 10-minute break, Ange.
Oh, I'll take that back then. He's worked hard for the time he's been on the park.
It's a decent run at this stage of the game, though, isn't it? With 4 minutes to go. You're 4-0 down. It's very easy to give up on that, isn't it?
And a player down, so he's obviously worked a little bit harder.
Walsh accelerates through the gears. Off he goes, runs into Di Felipe, who gets past Rathjen. And then in comes Walsh to thump him back with a challenge. Hampton Merriam tries to go past Gurney. Stands strong, Michael Gurney. Hampton Merriam, slightly built, it's fair to say. It's not been a classic, has it? But it's had its talking points throughout from minute 1 to minute 90.
We've definitely had a lot to talk about, Russ.
Timotheu skins Di Felipe, goes past for Red, slides it through for Michael John. Can he get his second? It's Michael John. It's superb from Gungahlin. It's magnificent. Timotheu milks the applause. Michael John gets the goal. It's a superb 5 for Gungahlin. They are cruising to the title. Great stuff from Timotheu. Beats 2. Cool head from Michael John. Never going to miss, was he?
Great through ball. Just, I think, understandably, Kuma's just got nothing left in the tank.
A touch of class from Anthony Timotheu in the middle of the park to beat 2 players in that short space of time, and then to pick the pass as well. Still plenty to do for Michael John, and that's a striker in form.
Absolutely, but you know that's what Michael John does. He loves it. He loves that sort of stuff.
2 minutes to play. Tigers' world has crashed down around them today. It's been Garland's glory. They lead 5-0. There were many that thought that Gungahlin would win today. I doubt many would have predicted them to win by 5. Circumstances piled up against the Tigers, one on top of the other. But Gungahlin, that's come off with John. Gungahlin have certainly been ruthless, haven't they?
Absolutely. I just think there's a lot of things that nobody would have been able to predict in this game.
Rathjen into the final 90 seconds. Liam Walsh looking for Jeremy Hampton-Merriam. That's come off of Redmond.
Gungahlin's not going to sit back for the last minute or two. I want to get another one here.
Well, they sensed blood early, didn't they? And they've kept kicking on since then. Here's Green. Rathjen. Costanzo. Green. The final throws of the 2019 NPL season, and Gungaghlin's remarkable story coming from nowhere, from 6 points adrift to claim the grand final. Sam Hampton-Marion, and not just claim it, one of the biggest wins we've seen for a number of years. Good skill from Keita. Costanzo. Rathjen made it tick this afternoon. Who's your unofficial man of the match, Lanange, if you had to pick?
I think Rathjen's up there. I think a game changer was obviously, not the man of the match, but I think a game changer was Jordan's save some 25 minutes ago at 2-0.
The agony is going to be prolonged by a further 3 minutes for the Tigers and their supporters.
3 minutes of time added on.
Redmond, Hampton-Marion snaffling the ball from his feet. And Redmond conceding the free kick.
Who would be your pick, Russ?
I'd have to pick Nick Rathjen for the way he's made it work, although Timotheo has been excellent as well.
I think
in his creating.
Yeah. I think Nick's been...
He's done all the dirty work, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Although Timotheo at the other end has scored a goal and created one with some magnificent skill.
But I think we're still talking about Rathjen as opposed to the others where they come and go a little.
Agreed. From the first minute to the last, he's put the effort in and often flies under the radar, as we've said, but it's been an integral part of Marcel Munoz's team, not just tonight, but for the entire season. Here's Hampton-Marion. Timotheo still not satisfied, and this is why. Abbas with the challenge. Walsh, good touch, Hampton-Marion to Jeremy Hampton-Marion. And he invites a challenge from Gurney, who just hacks him down. Already on a card, Michael Gurney. Lucky perhaps not to be walking off the field. Probably
surely not.
Probably discretion the better part of that for Bruno Kell at this stage. In the 91st minute of 5-0. Probably no need to send anybody else off, is there?
That'll literally be putting him into their grave if they were to get another red.
Well, Gungahlin are going to win the grand final and are going to win it well. Can they finish with a flourish? Jack Green is lining up a free kick here. I get a feeling anybody on the far post thinking he's going to get a chip into the middle here is dreaming.
I'm not sure why there's anyone even in the box.
This is going one place and one place only, I think, from Green. Here he is, and it's over the crossbar.
Is that where you were thinking? Over?
Exactly. Definitely going to have a shot, wasn't he?
Not the
But they're going to get their hands on the trophy soon. Jack Green's touch, bit imperious again. The big defender, off he goes on a slanting run. And as I say that, he gives the ball away.
Commentator's curse.
Tigers will be back again next season, of course. They've done well in difficult circumstances to get this far. With the FFA Cup as a distraction for them as well, although a welcome one.
I think that was a welcome distraction, but I think that's...
Oh, and there's Gurney, and he is going to walk. That's not going to be a second yellow. He's not even going to wait for it. Off he goes. They're going to finish with 9. Michael Gurney, that was a bit silly by the young man.
And Rathjen's definitely feeling that.
Yeah. I'm not entirely sure why he did it. It was pointless.
Oh, but he knew exactly what...
He knew exactly what he was doing, didn't he? And off he goes. Nick Rathjen wore that challenge. Tigers will finish with 9. And he dodged a bullet two seconds ago. And Bruno Kell says that'll do. Gungahlin United's dream season. From nightmares to fantasy. It all went wrong for them at the start of the season, and 6 points deducted, kicked out of the FFA Cup for fielding an ineligible player. To this moment, it's been a remarkable turnaround.
Yeah, I think it all went wrong for Gungahlin at the beginning of the season, but I think it's gone way worse for Cooma at the end of the last game of the season. But full credit to Gungahlin United, off celebrating with all their fans.
Great scenes, aren't they? With all the youngsters on the field, the Gungahlin juniors joining in with the senior players. but they never looked likely not winning, did they? Once they went ahead from Jeremy Habtemariam's goal early on, and then Jacob Cole saw red. We could only see one outcome.
Yeah, I think at 2-0 with Jordan's save, if that went in, I think we would have been looking at a completely different scoreline and maybe a different outcome. But I think that was the game changer, like that.
Well,
that one save.
And we're going to say that we thought that the Gunners, to their immense Tigers rather, to their immense credit, 5-0 down. They kept battling, didn't they? They didn't give up.
Absolutely, and we were saying that all game. They were never going to give up, no matter what the score. Coomer's not a team to give up. So full credit to them, and again full credit to Gungahlin, I guess, on their result.
Few would have predicted it at the start of the season. I don't think we would have been when we sat on top of that crane at the FFA Cup qualifier between Queanbeyan and Olympic back in, what would that have been, March maybe, or something like that, April. If we'd told you then that it would have been Gungahlin winning the competition, you would have been surprised.
Absolutely, and you listen to Timotheo's pre-match talk where he said last week the team was in a bit of disbelief that they actually won the game last week, and they were a bit silent when they went into the change rooms. But they made the most of it, winning the game last week, and obviously come through with a 5-0 win.
The season's gone from despair to reality, and also, like I said, -6 points, kicked out the FF Cup, thrashed 7-2 by Canberra Olympic in a quite remarkable game we watched at the AIS earlier in the season. You just wouldn't have picked the situation that we're in now, but credit to the way they've come through, credit to the way Marcel Munoz has stuck to his beliefs about playing football. Yes, they've rode their luck at times. Yes, they were perhaps fortunate to win last week, but they're worthy champions today.
Definitely worthy champions today, but as they say, Russ, you've got to ride your luck. You got to go along with it. So I always say you got to earn your luck. You know, the more you do things, the more times it's going to pay off for you.
Well, thanks for your company tonight, Ange. Do you have to go and present any trophies? Or you're okay?
I do.
I better get you over there as well then. And thanks for your company this season on Bar TV Sports. We'll be back in 2020 with the Charity Shield. Gungahlin United will be there, as will Canberra Olympic. We might see you on the field.
Only time will tell, Russ. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, and thanks for your company throughout the season here on Bar TV Sports, the home of grassroots football in Australia. It's been a fantastic night for Gungahlin United. It's been one to forget for the Tigers. They ended with 9. Michael Gurney and Jacob Cole sent off, but goals flew in at regular intervals for the Gunners. Jeremy Habtemariam with 2, Anthony Timotheo with 3, and then a double from Michael John to ice the cake in the final 10 minutes. Gungahlин's glory, it's their grand final. The final score, Tigers 0, Gungahlin 5.
thank you for heading out here tonight. First of all, a big congratulations to Tigers FC and Gungahlin United for all your successes this season. Big round of applause. I would like to invite Chair of Capital Football Friends, thank you, and CEO of Capital Football, Phil Brown, to help me present the medals tonight. We would like to start the medal ceremony by congratulating the referees on the excellent job they've done both tonight and throughout the season. The referees for today's grand final were Bruno Kell, Adam Powers, Alex McConaughey, and Gary Vanderberg. I will now announce the winner of the 2019 Valeri Medal. This is a player judged to have been the best player on ground tonight in the grand final. This person will also win a double pass to the Socceroos match against Nepal at GIO Stadium on October 10th. Congratulations to Jeremy Habervenian. Tigers FC to say a few words and to introduce your teammates for your medal.
Yeah, I just want to say congratulations to Gungahlin. They had a good game. And I'm very proud of the boys. Like we were 10 men who played really hard. But what happened tonight, I don't even have words to describe what happened. And yeah, congratulations to Gungahlin. Tonini, Rosa, Dimitri, Jacob, Tony, Mitchell, Marco Gurney, Goran, Gita, Bojan, Nico, and Loki. And Mark and Darren. Thank the band as well and the coaching staff and all the supporters and family. Thank you very much.
And now, for the champions of the 2019 National Premier League Grand Final Capital Football, I'd like to call forward the captain of Gungahlin United, Jack Green, to say a few words.
Thank you very much. First of all, I'd just like to thank you for such a great game. You guys fought till the end, and it was really unlucky to get Jacobson off in that first half. It really kind of set the tone for the rest of the game. So I feel for you boys, and it's going to be, hopefully you guys come back next season stronger and better. And I know Gabby will have you firing for next year. What a season starting off. -6. I can't express, I think I speak for the rest of the boys and the coaching staff, the support from the Gungahlin community and the club and the sponsors has been unbelievable, and I've been here for about 5 years and this has been the best year so far, and I think this is a real foundation for more things to come in the coming years. The boys, you guys all season, unbelievable. Not just you guys, the guys that left us, that went over to America, Josh Kaspari and Josh Laguda. this is for them as well. They put in so much hard work earlier on in the season, and you know, it's just a testament to this night. Is just a testament to what we've been working for all year. Lastly, I just want to thank the fantastic coaching staff and our physios and all our sponsors. You guys are incredible. The amount of work Frank, Michael, Deepak, Brad, Muzz put in the whole season. You'll never know how much hard work they put in. Especially to Marcel, we really appreciate his family letting him have him for so long. He's really the one to thank for all this. He's a mastermind, and he puts in so much hard work. It's unbelievable. So, all right, boys, Lockie, Sammy, Liam, MJ, Jaden. Sammy, MJ, Connie, Badrell, Geordie, Tommy Matt, Riley, Ross, Leah, Nicky, Zachy, Larry medalist winner, Jeremy Haptameri, Mo, Bernie, Gabriel, and the anomaly that is Augustine Bangura, Frankie, Michael Michelli, and Marcel Munoz. Deepak as well, get in here, mate.
Congratulations to our 2019 National Premier League champions, Gungahlin United. Before you go tonight, the Caltex Socceroos are coming back to Canberra when they take on Nepal on Thursday, October 10 at GIO Stadium. It's their first home match as they kickstart qualification for the FIFA World Cup 2022. So get your team together for a night of high-action international football. So now it's time to draw out the lucky winner of our final double pass to the match. So make sure you have your raffle ticket handy. Fran's going to do the honours.